Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. So I haven't done this for a few years now, actually. I got a little busy with life, things like that. If you watch my shorts, and you didn't even know I did these videos, welcome. Um, I almost finished these books last time, um, and I really feel like I should. The books are slowly deteriorating with time. Um, they've gotten a little bit more worn down. They're very they're very old at this point. So we're gonna try to get through the rest of them to make sure that these are immortalized and yeah, so people can see. But now we're gonna go on to the video. The last time we left off with the Japs lose ground in Burma. Uh, Obviously you can kind of see what's going on here, but it's a good thing because it's a little rough here. But it talks about the end of a very bloody battle during March 20th. Now, let's turn the page. Now on to the Russians cross the Oder. I don't think I said that right, but you know, 19 March 1945. The last barrier to Berlin. In the mighty Soviet winter offensive, the Reds lunged to the banks of the Oder River in less than a month of fighting. On the banks of this natural obstacle, the Russian forces paused, but by March they had forged beachheads on the other side of the Oder at Kustrin. Above, Soviet guardsmen are shown uh, capturing a bridgehead, and below, signalmen report from the West Bank. So obviously, they're getting to Berlin. They're getting very quick. The Soviets obviously will be the ones that get into Berlin and capture the city. Um, and you can see that they are pushing hard, hard, hard. You can see these men, obviously, like with a lot of the pictures in this, these are recreations, but you can see just how tired these guys look. And forging these beachheads must have been the task of a lifetime, because, for the Reds, obviously, they have turned on the full might of the Soviet Union on the Germans at this point, and they are collapsing on them. And by this point, the Germans have been losing, 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 and they are not going to win this. They are going to just continue to lose here against the Soviet Union, and they won't be able to stop the oncoming storm. Watch on the Rhine, March 1945. Scanning the East Bank. An observer of the United States Ninth Army perches on the terrace of a building on the west bank of the Rhine and seizes up German positions. Sizes up, not seizes up, my bad. On the other side. By the end of the month, the whole Western Front had pushed over to the eastern shore and was fanning out over Germany against light opposition by disintegrating German forces. That's not what it says. It says the National Socialist Party there. But YouTube's a little touchy with that, so I can't say that. But um, yeah, on the opposition of the Soviets here, you have the other side, the Western Front, and yeah, the Germans are just disintegrating at this point, kind of on purpose. One of the strategies was stop the Soviets as much as possible, throw as much against the Soviets as possible, and at this point just let the Western Front, oppose if you can, but slow them down because they don't want them to capture Germany or Berlin. But try to just slow them down, but focus mostly on the Soviets because the Western Allies, out of the Western Allies, the United States and the United Kingdom are a lot more forgiving than the Soviet Union is going to be. Obviously, there are French forces in this too, and the French aren't going to be very forgiving to the Germans. But the bulk of this is United States and United Kingdom forces, and they're willing to lessen up, you could say, on the Germans here. So a lot of Germans are much more willing to just give up to them and give up these positions to them and try to hold off against the Soviets. Which I mean, that's if I was them, I would too. The Soviets are coming with a vengeance. The Navy prepares to cross the Rhine. March 1945. Line up for inspection. Navy men wearing Army khaki line up for drill during the training period prior to crossing the Rhine. Navy personnel and craft were used extensively in getting out armies successfully over water obstacles to the Inner Reich. The Navy men shown here were attached to the Ninth Army and stationed near, I can't pronounce that, in Belgium. Not because I can't, but like I said, these books have started to fade, so sadly that has faded with it. But yeah, of course they're going to use the Navy. It's a water obstacle. They're going to try to have the Navy guys help these Army guys to get over. Um, they're the most experienced when it comes to water, and so hey, we're going to help you, and we're going to get you across this landing. We're going to get you these landings. We're going to get you to the Inner Reich, which obviously, definitely at this point, need to do. It's all capturing Germany. That's the main focus. The Yanks drink a beer on the Germans. March 1945. Prize of War. These doughboys of the United States Ninth Army get a drink of beer the hard way. First, they had to capture a German fort near the Rhine. The Ninth Army stormed across the Rhine during the Great Allied Offensive. Uh, once again, another. Most of this, if I say I can't pronounce it, that's why. Offensive cracked the northern end of the Western Front at the end of March. No, yeah, I can't pronounce that, but no shells in the foreground picture. So in this foreground picture, you can see these guys they beat the Germans and like, yeah, we're gonna get a drink, and you can see they're probably German cups. This guy, he's living his best life. It's funny to see these soldiers, obviously they're fighting really hard, things like that, but then you see these moments of um, relaxation that they get where they're just like, yeah, this is fun. And you can see the smiles on their faces and things like that. It's these small moments that help these soldiers, to some degree, stay sane, but also, help them be like, yeah, we're almost there, guys. We're getting there. We can push just a little more. It's going to be the last 2 pages, I think. GIs rest during a battle lull. March 1945. War weary. Caked with mud, these doughboys rest between battles. Their eyes and faces are heavy with fatigue as they take time out for a smoke. One holds a letter from home in his lap. You can see this guy right here. But yeah, there's a lot of instances of this. Smoking obviously is very big at this time, with the soldiers and without not being soldiers too. But it does probably help to a degree with their stress levels, because you have to imagine these guys, you're fighting constantly against the Germans, and the Germans are defending their homeland. They're fighting tooth and nail to ensure that nobody is getting into the Reich. So they're fighting very, very hard, and you just like sometimes you just like, I need this rest. So they obviously light up a smoke, do their best to just relax, which they probably need that. And I'm sure the letter from home is also very nice to receive. The Yanks cross the Moselle River, March 1945. Head for Koblenz. Infantry of the United States Third Army crossed the Molaise River in assault craft above, and jeeps are ferried over the wake below. A few days later, General Patton's rampaging army was storming the Rhine and smashing deep into Germany. Yeah, so you obviously get these guys across, and you will need the vehicles, of course. So those take a little bit longer. But once you get the guys across, it gets a little easier to get those vehicles across, because you have obviously the fortified positions, things like that, so you don't have to necessarily worry about enemies slowing you down when it comes to this. I'm sure it kind of would be a terrifying thought, if you're any army, and you just see behind the massive logistics and things like that to get all these vehicles across, and you're just trying to hold on for dear life at this point. Um, Probably be kind of a terrifying thought. At least to me, that would be. But with that, that's going to do it for this video. If you like the video, please leave a like. I really appreciate it. If you have any ways I can improve this content, leave a comment. You know, I don't have a lot of these videos left, but it's still very appreciated, and I would try to improve as much as possible. And if you can, please subscribe. It really helps out the channel, and I'll try to continue to do even better in every video. Thank you.